Hi, welcome to our last session of Optavia Together Live. We are so excited about this session. My name is Karen Schatzline, and I'll be moderating this roundtable discussion featuring a few of our accomplished female leaders in Optavia. With me today is Tia Wood, Leslie Begin, Nancy Strauss, Don Chow, and Megan Valentine. We are so glad to be with you all today. You know what, as women who have purposely worked to become the best versions of ourselves and to rise to a place of leadership, I'm gonna ask each one of these ladies, what would each of you say your greatest obstacle and toxic mindset has been that you've had to overcome in order to grow into the leader that you are today? What perceptions and mindsets had to shift in your life? And how has Optavia changed and awakened us? And how has that change impacted those around us? Because the changes in us have impacted others. So I want to ask first, the first person I'm going to have with me is Tia Wood. And I want to ask you, Tia, because we've talked, and 11 years ago, at 29 years old, you lost 40 pounds and transformed your life. What would you say to your 29-year-old self that said yes to her health and paying that gift forward to your friends and family?
I would say, Tia, this is going to be a great adventure, and every step is going to be so worth it. That your free spirit is going to embrace this structure that is going to become your friend, that's going to help you reach those goals that you've been afraid to share with anyone, like freaked out to share. Your family and friends, they're probably not going to understand you, but it's okay, they'll come in time. But Tia, just lean into your health. This community is going to bring you new friendships, and you're going to help people and assist people that you're going to be blown away with, who you're going to impact.
I love that. And you know, having said that, what would you say, how has that one pivotal decision changed the trajectory of your life and your family? And how can it do the same for women hearing these transformational stories today that are tuning in?
It really starts with that decision, and making that decision to become an Optavia coach gave my children a present mom, someone that was there for them, that wasn't fueling my body with the wrong things any longer. It gave my husband a wife that was passionate for life again, passionate to feel purpose in her life again. And really on the side of your greatest fear is massive breakthrough and the ability to get to create those dreams that I saw behind my eyes and to bring them forward. I was told once, if you can see it behind your eyes, you can have it in your hands. And literally that has been the key to my breakthrough. Is I've just been consistent. I've showed up every day, and consistency plus time has always equaled success in my life.
I love that, because you know what? No one else is going to build the life that you want for you. No one else will even be able to completely understand it. You know, Pat and I, have a picture in our bedroom wall that we wake up to every morning, and it simply states, and together they built a life they could love. And that's what I know, Leslie, that you have done and you and Trey have done. So knowing what I know about your life, you could have had any reason or excuse to be stuck and not build your business. How did you remain committed and continue to move forward? And how were you able to allow the obstacle to actually become the way?
Yeah, Karen, the last 7 years have been hard. Yeah. We built this business with 2 pregnancies and 2 breastfeeding babies and 4 other kids in tow. We have 6 daughters, 14 and under. And we built this business during really hard times. Times of breaking free from addiction, times of working hard on our marriage, times of watching a parent die of a degenerative disease. We built it while living in a camper, while renovating a house, while moving 4 times in 7 years. We had all the excuses to stop. But I learned that our excuses have to become our why. The reason we get up and do what we do. 6 daughters, it could have been an excuse. But it became the reason why I had to do this. I had to show these 6 little powerful women that were raising that they can raise a family and pursue their dreams. They can contribute to the world and not just consume the contributions of others. They can live a life where they're making an impact. I was way too busy. I was way too overwhelmed to do this, and that definitely could have stopped me.
That's right.
But that became the reason why. I mean, I realized one day, my husband helped me, if I grew this business, I could hire someone to clean my house and do my laundry, which I hated doing, and that was super compelling for me. I also had to just rebuke those lies. I had to say, I'm not overwhelmed, I'm an overcomer. And I had to give up some things so that I could actually make this business a priority. And when the days were really hard when we were clawing our way back up from rock bottom. And when I was watching my dad die, coaching was my why, because it gave me true joy in moments of deep, deep sorrow to connect with clients and to help coaches reach their goals.
Wow.
And so basically my key was I turned all the excuses into reasons why.
Yeah, you know, and I'm listening to you and I'm hearing you talk and I'm thinking of something that resonates with everyone, and that is that growth is painful and change is painful. But one thing we've all learned, all of us women here, is that nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. And freedom is always just on the other side of your decision to change. And you know what, our next person that's going to speak, Nancy, you understand that, because when you became a new coach and a CEO of your Optavia business, how did you feel about growing to a higher level of leadership? And was, you know, leadership even something that was even on your radar? How has your view of leadership changed? Because so many of us, as women especially, we compare ourselves to other people. We compare our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. And we all know that comparison is the thief of joy. So what would you say to them?
It's so funny. I was so afraid of leadership. It seems so far away and unrealistic.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think I wanted to be a leader. I was afraid of the responsibility. I was deathly afraid of public speaking.
Yeah.
I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of success. I was afraid of people's opinions. And I was really caught up in comparison, low confidence, feelings of inadequacy. So ironic, because some of the reasons I was afraid of leadership is who I'm on this panel with today. I mean, just look at this awesomeness. But I've had complete meltdowns, waves of doubts and fears. But I love the people.
That's right.
I had to share this gift. It felt selfish if I didn't, so I just kept going. Every time I was climbing this mountain and I reached a new summit, I was like, wow, I was so surprised and so grateful. Look at all these people I could help. And I was loving the view, but I was like, well, what's up there? Like, what happens if I keep going? How many more people can I help? What happens if I keep going? And then I thought, geez, what happens if I don't?
That's right. Yeah.
How many people will lose if I allow the fear to win?
Yeah.
How many lives won't experience freedom? So I started to ask, well, why not me?
That's right.
I mean, I could glean and learn from amazing women, but I didn't have to be them. I just had to be my best me. What's funny is now I have coaches that'll say, I don't want to do what you do. They have their own fear. And you know what I say? I didn't want to be me either, but I wouldn't trade this for anything. In the beginning, it just seemed so far away. I wasn't ready for it then, but you grow into it.
That's right.
So just keep sharing, loving the people, reading and growing and learning. It takes time. You know, managing emotions and disappointments, that takes grit. Just keep going. We have a habit that says we embrace the obstacle as the way. Well, I might as well give myself a great big hug because I've been my greatest obstacle. But awakening others to their full potential, it's my greatest joy. So what happens? What's next if you keep going? I mean, confidence comes, but it's not so much about confidence as it is about curiosity.
You know, I love that because, you know, I think every woman that's tuning in today can relate and resonate with everything that you said, because I think hearing you, you're really saying that true leaders don't necessarily set out to become a great leader. They begin by just wanting to make a difference. It's not about the position or the title. It's about the vision and the mission. And you know, Dawn, I love your story. And I can't wait to hear your story, because I know from talking with you that in your early years, you felt that you had been placed in a box. I understand that. I had felt that way for the majority of my life, and you felt that your destiny had already been planned out for you. So how did you break free from that mindset and decide and ask yourself the real question that says, what would the possibilities be? What would it look like if there was not a box?
You know, Karen, the more I've thought about that feeling like I was placed in a box, I've realized I put myself in that box. There's something so liberating about taking ownership there. And as I got older, I started to believe that the decisions of my past somehow locked me into a box, you know, that I was somehow it defined my future, and that I didn't have as many options as maybe someone who was just starting out or who didn't already have a successful career or a family and all of the responsibilities. You know, you can hear those excuses that just keep coming, right? So I continued to do what was best for everyone else around me. And I just hoped that by default that it was also the best thing for me, right? And I painted a big old smiley face on the outside of that box until I realized that the box didn't exist.
That's right.
I'd created it in my mind, and I could change that.
Yeah.
Right? Anyone ever just change their mind? Good at that.
Yeah.
And I'd made a lot of decisions. You know, it led me up to a successful career in the medical world, and there I was trying to help others, 50 pounds overweight, feeling super confused, exhausted. I didn't feel successful. I didn't feel like I was a leader. I wasn't leading myself, let alone anyone else, you know? So I changed my mindset from being fixed inside this box to growing and dreaming and getting outside the box. And that took me making a decision.
Yeah.
And for me, that decision was that taking care of myself wasn't a luxury. It was a necessity. And that my health and my dreams needed to be put back on my own priority list. And so I started with my own health journey and coaching others. And you know, that helped me realize that I could decide at any time, on any day, to simply declare what I wanted in my life and start creating it, just one decision at a time. And it was this Optavia community, my own health journey, having my own coach and mentors speaking into me. And I got to see others really like going after their dreams and accomplishing them. And it's like it bonked me on the head. Okay, it woke me up.
Yeah.
I could do it too.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes. It just took a decision, and it takes support. You know, I don't think any of us were born with leadership skills ready to deploy at birth. I don't think we have any super special gifts or some golden life. We just decided to take action on our dreams, and we surrounded ourselves with community.
Yeah.
And I've learned some things about leadership, that it's not about having a bunch of followers. It's not about knowing everything. It's about learning to lead ourselves in a way that gives others the permission to lead themselves.
That's right.
And so I just accepted that there was actually no box confining me or defining my future, and that I didn't need to wait for anyone else or wait for the perfect timing. I could make a decision right now, and that my past did not have to define my future.
Yeah.
It could actually be my teacher, and it could give me the tools. And that was what I just decided, and this was the community that I wanted to surround myself to make that happen. And you know, Karen, becoming part of this community was one of the best decisions that I ever made.
Yeah. You know, I'm listening to your talk, and I'm thinking, you know, there's so many people who are sitting out there that feel the exact same way that you feel, and they feel like they're stuck right now. But I've learned that successful leaders, you know, John Maxwell said this, successful leaders are the ones who have the courage to take action while others hesitate. And one of the mottos of my life has always been, I'm learning to love the sound of my feet walking away from those things that no longer serve me. And, you know, I know that so many of you out there feel the same way. And you know, Megan, I want to ask you, because you live your life helping awaken other women to their purpose. It's a passion of yours. And so I want to ask you, you know, as you know, someone who's rose up in leadership, what would you say to the woman who is hesitating to step out and to build her best life through health, number one, and this business because of the fear of what other people's opinions are?
Yep. You know, Karen, so often I feel like we let the opinions of others just hold us back and keep us from living our best lives. In fact, did you know, like, one of the #1 regrets that people voice on their deathbed? That they have not lived a life that's true and authentic to themselves. And it makes me think of that quote, you know, fear has killed more dreams than failure ever will. Because so often fear keeps us from ever getting out and getting started in the first place. I know that my personal biggest breakthrough, it came when I quit waiting for the, you know, invitation, the permission, and the validation from other people to become the best version of myself and to chase my dreams. Don't get me wrong, when we say yes and we start to chase our dreams, I know you know this, you know, all of us ladies do, but you know, we say, yes, I'm gonna chase those dreams. I'm gonna pursue my becoming the best me and building my best life. Resistance comes.
Absolutely.
Stephen Pressfield says this, most of us live 2 lives. The life we live and the unlived life within us that we dream of. And between the two stands resistance. When setting out to do really big things, especially things that are going to impact others, and like Dr. A says, the world, right? We're going to face resistance, internal and external. life will happen. Doubt and fear and people's opinions, criticism, right, may come. And I may be tempted, any of us, to blame distractions, circumstances, or others. But at the end of the day, it's me. And I get to decide, and so do you. And I've taken my power back when I start taking personal responsibility to create the life I desire, to stop being pushed around by the fear in my mind, and instead being led by the dreams in my heart, right? To no longer allow others' opinions to hold me back.
Yeah. And you know, I love that, because most of us, that is what holds us back. What will this person think, or what will that person think? But the greatest prison people live in is the fear of what other people think of them, when most times people aren't even thinking about us. And one thing my husband always says is opinions don't pay rent. And when you don't seek or you don't need approval, you are at your most powerful. And I love it because I'm sitting around this room with such powerful, gifted women. And if you're ever looking for the strongest woman leaders in a room, then look for the ones that are building the other women up, encouraging them, not competing with them, but showing them how to rise up, to live their very best lives, and to be the best versions of themselves. So, you know, and that's what we have here, I believe. And so I want just to go around the room again with everyone, and we'll start with Tia. And I want to ask each one of you, what is one piece of advice or personal growth steps that each one of you would give to every woman sitting and watching today, from the young mom to the single mom to the already established businesswoman looking for more fulfillment in her life? What would you say to them to give them encouragement that they can dream bigger, they can become more than what they have ever settled for? Tia?
You were created to be divinely female and to be a voice of truth and hope to this generation. I feel that so in my gut for you as women out there, that we're nothing special. We just chose to listen to that gut intuition that we had within us, and it's divinely genius. We each have spheres of influence that we can impact. And I've learned to feel that fear and that resistance and lean into it. And every day to learn to really overcome that fear and step boldly. You know, I have love, I have compassion within me. You have love, you have compassion within you that flows into this world and that desperately needs it right now.
I love that. And you know, Leslie, you have so much advice to give everyone, and you're raising these little girls to become powerful, gifted, strong women. What advice would you give to the women that are looking and watching today?
Yeah, I would just challenge you to take every thought captive. When an excuse pops up or that negative committee starts meeting in your head, I have a question that we ask our children, that my husband and I ask each other, and we say, if you could do this, how would you? If I could change the exploding diaper and finish the health assessment, how would I? If I could be an incredible mom and an engaged wife and help people reach their goals, how would I? I've learned that your brain can't be creative and critical at the same time. So if you start asking yourself this question, if you could, how would you do it? It helps you to move into that creative zone. Your excuses start to disappear, and your why becomes the thing that compels you to take action even when you don't feel like it.
I love that. And you know, Nancy, you know, you have overcome, and you've rose up and became that leader that you never thought was possible. What would you say to the women that are watching and listening, to the ones who say, I don't have that inside of me? What would you say to them?
To understand that in order to win, we need to fail forward. Successful people are really good at failing and picking themselves back up again with grit. I don't know anyone that became a leader without facing rejections and disappointments. Walt Disney was actually fired from his first job because he was told he wasn't creative enough. Can you imagine? Just keep going with grit. Believe in your mission with gratitude. Have a clear why that motivates you and gives you that kind of passion that makes you want to move forward in those hard times. So just like redefine what a win looks like, because sometimes the win is that you made it through a hard day. Sometimes the win is that you showed up when you felt like quitting. Those hard times are critical for growth and opportunities to learn. These obstacles are actually a gift in really ugly wrapping paper, but inside it is pure gold.
I love that. You know, we can all pick ourselves up. We can all show up every day. That is a win in itself, is just showing up. So, you know, Dawn, I want to ask you, because, you know, you broke the box. You stepped out, you said, I'm going to change my mind, I'm going to do something different. So what would you say to the woman that's watching today who may be just beginning her journey and who may feel stuck? So what piece of advice would you give her to say you can break out and you can be more?
Yeah. So I would say take a moment, get yourself centered, quiet all the noise around you. Get out of your head and get into your heart. Get out of your fears and your doubt. Step into that love that you have for yourself and for those around you, your family and your children and the others in your world. You have limitless ability to dream and create. So please don't let your past decisions lock you in any kind of a box. What if there was absolutely no box? Just your dreams, and you could take those off the shelf and you could dust them off and you could just start going after them. So don't wait till you feel like it. Just step into that next best thing for you. Step out of the fear. That will awaken your confidence and you will feel like doing more. Step out of your head into your heart and into your future.
I love that. So Megan, you actually were able to rise above and say, I'm not going to worry about what people are thinking about me. I'm not going to worry about if I have permission or if I have approval. So what piece of advice would you give to every woman that's watching and say, you can do the same? Where would you tell them to start?
Well, I would probably walk over and in the friendliest coach-like way, I would grab your shoulders and shake you just a little bit. And I don't know who needs to hear this today, but it's for someone. And I would just tell you, get out of your own way.
That's right.
Don't be the reason that you don't succeed.
Yeah.
Here's the good news, right? If the obstacle is the way and you are your biggest obstacle, you are also the way.
That's right.
So set yourself free to go for it.
Yeah.
Believe instead of doubt. Move forward and get in action.
Yeah.
Trust that you will learn along the way and become who you need to be in the process.
Yeah.
Right? You may not be that person right now, but you have everything you need to start. Start and you will become that person. Maybe you've heard it said before, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Mm-hmm. Be your own biggest advocate.
Yeah.
Your own biggest fan. Don't wait for anyone else to give you that invitation, to give you that validation or that permission. Stop procrastinating. Get into action today.
I love it. And I love sitting around with women who I know are going to push me to be greater and to do more and to be more. And that's what I want to say to everyone that's watching is that you are more than what you've become. You are more than what you've allowed yourself to become. And you can do and you can be and you can become the best version of yourself. So I just want to take a moment and say thank you so much to our amazing panel today. And in our next segment, we're going to hear from another inspirational leader, Dan Valentine. As we go through our third habit of transformational leadership, we seek growth, we embrace obstacles as the way.
Wow, absolutely amazing. Has today not been amazing? Following this panel, actually they asked me to be part of that panel at first, but I said, I don't know if I'll quite fit in there, but absolutely an amazing day. And what I love is this habit of transformational leadership that we're going to be talking about, that I'm going to be spending just a few minutes talking about. You've heard it referenced all throughout the day. Even during this session that we just saw, several of these amazing ladies referenced it. So the third habit is this: we seek growth, we embrace obstacles as the way. Now, one of the reasons that this is, I think, so close to my heart is I remember a couple years ago when they actually kind of took what was the DNA of 2 decades of Optavia and the leadership DNA, and they kind of got it down on paper and created these habits of transformational leadership. I remember when I saw this one the very first time, and I was like, that's it. That's the thing that I have been being mentored in, taught, moving forward in, growing over these last 4+ years. Now 6 years is this idea of seeking growth and embracing the obstacles as the way. Notice that it says we embrace obstacles, right? Not tiptoe around them. We don't avoid them. We don't pout over them. We don't whine about them. Who enjoys obstacles? Do this. Raise your hand right now if you really enjoy obstacles. Even if you're just sitting in front of your computer by yourself, raise your hand up, look around, see if anybody's watching you. I think there's probably not a whole lot of hands up because very few of us, if any of us, really genuinely enjoy obstacles. Well, if you can grasp this habit, and I mean in the true sense of the depth of the meaning that there is behind it, and we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit, and learn to embrace obstacles as they come your way, it will change everything. The truth is, obstacles are part of our life. You can't do anything about it. You can be upset, but they're not going away. You cannot, like I tried to do for many years, insulate myself from obstacles, and the truth is that doesn't work. You are setting yourself up for disappointment, because just like the sun rises and sets every single day, there will be obstacles that come along. But as I started to really look at this and think about it, what I discovered is that if you think about every great person that ever walked the face of this earth, faced massive obstacles. Think about that. All the people that we talk about, all the great men and women of history, you know, all the people that we read about in our history books, that there's TV shows about, all of those people, every single one of them, the one thing that they all have in common is they all face some type of massive obstacle. There are very few movies out there that you go pay, well, nobody pays any money to go see movies right now, which I'm very disappointed in because I'm a movie guy, but there's very few movies made about just somebody's life without there being significant obstacles that that person goes up against and overcomes. And you see that in movies. You see that in literature. And I saw this post from Drew Lloyd, who's a fellow coach. And he didn't even know I was going to say this, but I just saw it on his Instagram. And it really, really lines up with what we're talking about. He said this, "I'm thankful for my struggle, for without it, I wouldn't have stumbled across my strength." I want to say that again. I'm thankful for my struggle, for without it, I would not have stumbled across my strength. How cool is that? And that's the story of every great person in history, and every great person that's watching this right now. You're going to discover your strength through the obstacles, through your stumbles, if you can learn to look for that and embrace them. See, without problems, there would be no need for creative thought, critical thought. There'd be no need for growth. There'd be no need for strength. There'd be no need for grit, like one of the ladies referred to. Now, I remember when I was a senior year in high school, we're going to go down memory lane just for a second here, okay? One of the biggest obstacles that I had ever faced in my life, it's funny, one of the other leaders here was joking with me before I walked up here like 3 minutes ago and said, "What do you know about obstacles? You've had a perfect life." And I'm like, "Oh, if you only knew what I've been through in my life. It's been crazy, but I'm not alone. We're all there." And I remember when I was a senior in high school, my life fell apart. And like Jamil talked about, I do take responsibility now. At that time, it was everybody else's fault, and it was the world against me. This was happening to me. It wasn't happening for me, but sure enough, I decided, my parents were separated. My mom lived in northern Illinois, which is a great place to be in the dead of winter. We'll talk about that in a second. I was living in Phoenix, Arizona, October, November. It was beautiful. The birds were singing. The skies were blue. The sun was shining, and I was 17 years old. I figured everything out by that point. I knew how everything worked. I knew way better than my dad, and we got in a big fight. And I remember I said, "I'm going to show him, Dad, I'm moving in with my mom. Pack up my stuff, grab all my stuff, and I'm taking this, I'm taking that, and go." And I call my mom, "I'm moving in. I don't like living here," all this stuff. I'll just say this, since then, I've had a great reconciliation with my dad. We both used to laugh about this. But here I was now, I decided to move across the country. I didn't know what I was getting into. Northern Illinois, in the middle of the winter, in the middle of my senior year. I wasn't allowed to do sports for 30 days, which was a big part of my life. I didn't know a single soul at my school. There was no more warmth. It got dark at like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, where am I? I am in the middle of a God-forsaken land. The world is against me. And I just looked back on it. Obviously, I survived. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for that obstacle, which if I had it to do over again in that moment, I would have reversed it in a heartbeat. I'm glad I didn't have that opportunity, because as I look back over my life, there are so many things that happened in my life that would have never happened if I didn't find myself in the middle of Rockford, Illinois. As a matter of fact, living 1 mile away from the beautiful Megan Valentine that would one day be my wife. I would have never met her. My life would be completely different than it is now. And I love my life, so I wouldn't want that. But the obstacles are always the path to where you want to go. The obstacle is the way. Now, speaking of obstacles, it's 2020. We could call this the year of the obstacles, right? You see all the memes and all the jokes. People are like, I can't wait for this to be over. What's next? The aliens are coming. And isn't it true? There's really nothing that could come along this year that would surprise us in 2020. We'd be like, yep, it's 2020. Saw that coming. 6 months ago, none of us could have seen any of this coming, right? I was scrolling back through people's beginning of the year posts on social media, their resolutions, and it's funny because everybody's doing what we all do at the beginning of every year. Nobody's saying, hey, I hope there's a bunch of obstacles that come my way. I hope there's a lot of really bad things that happen to this world. Everybody's talking about 2020 is going to be the greatest year. I can't wait. This is my year. Hashtag goals. And it's funny, nobody could have predicted where we're at. But what I've seen, which has been amazing, as this habit of transformational leadership, seeking growth and embracing obstacles as the way, is embedded in the DNA of Optavia coaches. And we've had the incredible honor of working with some amazing coaches that in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of this crisis, Dr. A was dead right when he talked about this being the greatest opportunity that ever could have come our way. Did we wish it to happen? No, but it's there and it's an opportunity. And we've seen coaches that have exploded their businesses. They've multiplied their impact as a result of focusing on the things that they can focus on. Some of you watching right now, you realize that my business is going to be good or it's going to be not so good based on what happens right here in between my ears, just like so many things in life, right? So I'm just so honored to be part of this community and just have Dr. A, thank you for that DNA that's just a part of who we are. I'll be honest, my life before that wasn't part of the DNA. I've grown more as a person. Those of you that know me would say, yes, I have a long way to go. I acknowledge that. I would say this, my greatest gift to you, Optavia coaches, is that you can look at me and we've had a measure of success and you can say, if Dan can do this, I can totally do this, okay? So accept that gift, but I'll tell you this, if you had known me before, you wouldn't recognize me. I've grown more in the past 6 years being part of Optavia than I did the previous 40 years. It's just an honor to represent and be part of this mission where we genuinely seek growth. As a matter of fact, in my life, I used to seek comfort. I didn't want obstacles. I did everything I could to try to avoid them until I learned that growth is a powerful thing. So anyway, you're probably thinking, okay, that sounds good. I get it. We seek growth, embrace obstacles as the way. Now that's easy to say, right? But it's a lot harder to do. So I'm going to give you 4 quick tips for the last few minutes that I have. 4 keys. The million-dollar question right now, how do I embrace obstacles as the way? Well, here's 4 simple keys, and this is just what I have learned from my mentorship and lived over the last 6 years. And I'm going to try to impart just a little bit of this to you that I've seen add huge benefit to my life. Okay, are you ready? The 4 keys to how to really embrace obstacles as the way and not just make it a nice slogan, but make it part of your life. The first one is this: become a growth seeker versus a comfort seeker. When you do that every day, on a daily basis, you wake up seeking to grow instead of seeking to have a comfortable life. Do you feel the difference in that? When you change your posture of actively seeking growth every single day versus seeking comfort, seeking escape, seeking sedation, seeking the status quo, it changes everything. The reason that I've changed so much and I will continue to change and grow over the coming years is because my posture towards life and towards growth has changed. You've heard it said many times today, are you chasing your best version of yourself? Because the truth is, the goal is to get to the end of your life without regret. To look back and go, and even every day, say, I put my head on my pillow and I'm proud of the way I lived my life today. Get to your life and be proud of what you've done, knowing that you sought to be the best person that you could be every single day of your life. Okay, number 2, so be a seeker of growth versus a seeker of comfort. That's huge. Number 2, this is huge. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, all 4 of these are huge. I'm going to say that every time to get your attention, all right? These are all big things. Number 2, set your intentions daily. Some of you heard me, I just shared this on one of our calls recently, and some of you may have heard it, but I like riding on my Peloton bike, okay? I love one of my best purchases ever. I'm not getting paid to do a promotion for Peloton. I just love it, okay? And the reason I love it is because I love podcasts. I love people that are motivational and inspirational and have a little energy like me. You know, some of you love that, and some of you right now, I can't wait till this is over so somebody can settle down and talk to me, all right? It's just the way I am. I love it. I like to be filled up. I like to be encouraged. And when I do these Peloton rides, the instructors, I feel it's like a 30-minute or 45-minute pep talk while I happen to be riding a bike, which is a good thing, right? You know, I'm getting some cardio in, you know, I'm burning some calories, but I've got somebody that's speaking life into me for 30, 45 minutes. And I love that. But one of the instructors, her name's Hannah Frankson, who's awesome. She's got this British accent, so cool. I started watching some of her classes, and she says this at the beginning of every class. She says, now before we go into this ride, set your intentions for this ride. How do you want to feel at the end of this ride? How do you want to feel about the effort that you gave? You didn't just get on this bike to waste 30 minutes or 45 minutes. Set your intentions right now. And I notice as I'm on this bike and I'm just kind of doing it, and she says that, and you know, I straighten up a little bit, I get my form right, and I start really getting into it. And I'm like, this is the key for life, to set your intentions, because every time I do that, and I think about what are my intentions for this 45-minute ride, when I do that intentionally, when I get to the end of that ride, it's 10 times better than it would have been if I didn't set my intentions. And the way to do that in life is this. You know how to have an amazing life? String together a lot of amazing years. You know how to have an amazing year? It's not when 2020 starts, this is going to be an amazing year. You see, you can't determine or decide what your year is going to be like, but what you can do is you can decide what your days are going to be like. And the way to have a great week is string together a bunch of great days. The way to have a great month is string together a bunch of great weeks. It's literally that simple. It comes to every day. What am I going to do? What are my intentions for this very day? Morning routine is a huge part of that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. That's a whole other training. There's a bunch of stuff available out there on it. But I just want to encourage you. Even if it's a 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute morning routine, this goes for everybody that's watching this. A routine where you get up and you chase the day instead of letting the day chase you. I used to grab for my phone, literally in my bed, my phone's on my nightstand, even though Dr. A says not to do this. I grab for my phone, pick it up, I'm laying in bed, my feet haven't even hit the ground yet, and I'm holding my phone and I'm scrolling through texts and looking through social media. Like, that was my morning routine. By the way, if you do that, I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself, terrible morning routine, okay? Because what I noticed is this, whatever emotions were brought up by whatever I saw that somebody else decided to post or text to me, whatever their emergency is, whatever their opinion is, whatever their problem was, whatever. And there were good days, somebody would send me a nice message, like, oh, then I'd have an awesome day, right? But I was at somebody else's mercy then. And the day started chasing me instead of me chasing the day. And if it started out negative and got into my emotions, I spent the entire day running after the day, trying to get it back. What I do now, Megan does this, so many of our amazing leaders do this, set a morning routine, commit to it, honor it, raise your reputation with yourself by honoring a commitment, even if it's, 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. Like Dr. A says, start with one push-up. One push-up. Don't set an hour routine, put a bunch of things there. You won't do it. You will fail. Start a micro habit of 5 minutes. Do that for a week. Get up, journal, gratitude, meditate, pray, sing, whatever you do. It's totally up to you. The point is, you decided what it was going to be, right? And make your bed. I'm telling you, I know you've all heard this. You will feel 10 times better. This is scientifically proven by me that you will feel better. You'll feel 10 times better in your day if you make your bed. I know we got some non-bed makers here going, no, I don't agree with that. This is just from my research of myself. You'll feel better because it's another thing you can control. All right, number 3. Are you ready? Number 3, control your thoughts and your self-talk. I want you to listen real close here. It is possible that your thoughts do more damage to you than the actual obstacle that you're facing. Did you hear that? Yeah, obstacles are a pain. It's hard to embrace them. But many times it's not the obstacle that sends us down the road, that sends us down the river, that gets us off the tracks. It's what we do with it in our head. How many of you have a giant IMAX screen in your head? That every time something happens, oh my gosh, this always happens to me. Oh, you're so stupid when you make a mistake. Oh my gosh. Your thoughts, I asked a coach this once who texted something to me. She's probably watching right now. And she had said something that she had done, and I was coaching her on, and she said, "I'm so stupid," in the text. And I immediately said, I almost said her name. I'm not going to call her out. I said, would you talk to your kids that way? Would you talk to your best friend that way? She's like, no, of course not. I'm like, why do you allow yourself to talk to yourself that way? And she said, oh my gosh. And the truth is, everybody, as we go around every day, we have somebody that follows us around and speaks to us. They follow us around and they speak to us. Something like 60,000 thoughts a day. And some studies have said 90% of them are negative. They're the same thoughts day after day. Nobody on here in their right mind would walk around letting somebody just follow them around, speaking negative into their life all day long, and yet we do that to ourselves. You want to change that. Change what you're listening to every single day. All right, last one, because we're out of time here. It's been so fun hanging out with you guys. Number 4, cultivate an opportunistic attitude towards obstacles. Now, we've heard this sprinkled all throughout, so I don't need to spend much time on it, but that age-old question, is it happening to you or is it happening for you? That is 100% up to what you do up here. You see, it's not just your actions, it's also your posture towards obstacles. Are you postured like, get away from me, I would rather have comfort? Or do you go, well, where's the gift in this? Where's your heart and your mind when it comes towards that obstacle? I'll end with this. One of my favorite quotes is from Jim Rohn, and he said, it's the set of the sail, not the direction of the wind, that determines which way we will go. Isn't that awesome? The wind blows the same on everyone. And yet some people end up in this place, some people end up in this place, some people end up in this place. You can have 5 sailboats out, and each of them, the wind blows the exact same for all of them. They could be in 5 different places by the end of the day, all based on what they do with the sails. It's the same thing in life. Your attitude is your sails. The things that you can control are your sails. You've heard this, where focus goes, energy flows. When you're faced with an obstacle, does your focus go towards the obstacle and all the negative parts of that, or does it go towards growth? Do you embrace obstacles? Do you hug obstacles like Nick hugged that big mountain goat? Do you face them head on and then conquer them and pull the lesson away from them, pull the learnings away from them? That will make all the difference in your life if you can capture this one habit of transformational leadership and make it part of your life. We seek growth. We embrace obstacles as the way. So my challenge to you is this: become a growth seeker every single day. When the obstacles come, embrace them and convince yourself that they are for you. There's a reason for this, and you will tap into a life that you've only dreamed of. Because there's one thing that I've discovered: when it's all said and done, whatever your endeavor, it's not reaching the goal that's the greatest reward. It's who you become on the journey towards that goal. And you don't become much if you don't ever face an obstacle. Next up is a story from an amazing couple that lives this out. They continually seek growth. I love these guys. They embrace obstacles along the journey. You've already met Tracy, so we're going to hear from her husband as well. The story, they're going to share a little bit about their experiences. Tracy and Russ Scarce.
To impact people's lives on an everyday basis, to me, there's no greater joy.
How are you?
Every single day, I'm hearing people talk about their journey and what their why is and where they want to be, and I can see a little piece of me in them.
How are you feeling about last month?
Before Optavia, I was a size 20 or in between a size 16 or a 20 for over 13 years. I wasn't at my full potential. I wasn't thriving. I was just living. I didn't know where to turn, and it scared me and it stressed me out. I didn't have anyone to lead me. I was just looking for help. And I got that with Optavia, and I got so much more.
One of the best things about the transformation was seeing Tracy really just almost fall back in love with herself.
What started out as a healthy transformation has turned into this powerful opportunity. You get to be part of the community, this amazing community of people. You're able to be inspired, see others doing the plan, recipes, you get the nutrition. It truly is about creating lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. People kept saying to me, when you become a coach, I'll get healthy. I want you to coach me. And I'm thinking, how am I going to be a coach? After so many people ask me, and these people that you love, you can't say no to the people that you love. If I hold the answer, why would I keep this to myself? I have walked that walk, and now I'm walking it with them, creating those healthy habits. That lifestyle change, that's one healthy habit at a time. I just got to turn around and teach others the simple and easy plan that I did myself, the 5 in 1. 5 fuelings, all your nutrition is in there, and you're lean and green. Optavia has absolutely helped me create the life that I love, the life that I'm living, the life that I didn't even know I could have. I'm in charge of my own time, so I know what I have to do during the day. I know who I have to connect with, who I have to love on, and I'm able to fit that in with the hours that I have in the day. Coaching really fits in the nooks and crannies of my life. I could have never dreamed that the client community would look the way that it does. It fills my heart with joy. It's an electric group of people who are engaging and just living life together. I get to be a mom. I get to be a friend. I get to be a wife. I'm living the life I was meant to live because of Optavia.
Wow, what a story. I'm Pat Schatzline, and I'm super fired up because today with me in the studio is the very same remarkable couple that you just saw. Welcome back, Tracy and Russ. Love you guys. Y'all are like family to us. You know, some of you guys saw this video 2.5 years ago. I remember seeing it at Go Global. It was incredible. But what makes a true lifelong transformation is to see how Russ and Tracy are doing today. Time is the factor. I'm telling you, it just proves everything. And Russ and Tracy, we've been dear friends for about 3 years now, if not a little bit longer. But as you know, as we go along and move forward on this journey, you know, we seek growth, but we've also learned that we've heard it over and over today. The obstacle is the way. And I'm just honored to watch as you guys have grown. And I just want to dig into this for a second. So Russ and Tracy, welcome. Tracy, I just want to say to you, congratulations, keeping your weight off and truly working every day. You're a CEO, you're doing this, you're growing and working towards optimal health. Tell me how it feels.
Oh gosh, Pat, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
It feels amazing. When Optavia says lifelong transformation, they mean it.
Right.
You know, going back to the beginning of the journey, I'm in awe of what lifelong transformation physically, mentally, and financially really means. I've gained my life back.
Yeah.
Priceless. My activity levels all around, giving my life back with my kids, with my husband, being able to keep up on hikes and all of those things. Financially, as we've taken the coaching opportunity that Optavia has so graciously gifted us with, we have freedom that we could have never dreamed of, a life we would have never imagined, unrecognizable.
Yeah.
The community, holy, phenomenal part of what we've experienced. And from our clients to other coaches, such an unexpected blessing in our lives. I signed up for a diet. That's what I signed up for. That was my mentality. I didn't expect to gain a family of like-minded best friends. But we just, you know, as we talk about habit 3, the obstacle is the way, we seek that growth. But the obstacle is the way. It became really true in my journey and our journey. I don't know that I truly understood what that meant when I first heard it, but we were in a tough spot. I had a garage sale to order my first box of fuelings. Unbelievable. I did it for 2 reasons. Number one, financially, we needed to do that. I needed to show myself that it was a warranted expense. But it was also Russ. When I told Russ, I saw the disappointment, the advanced disappointment in his eyes. Like, here it goes, Trace, another failed diet, right? And that impacted me greatly. It wasn't that he wasn't supportive. He wanted me to change my life. It was just that he had not been awakened to what Optavia was going to provide for us. None of us have. But talk about an obstacle. I mean, it was in my own home in many different ways.
Russ, my brother, what has changed since then?
Wow. Pat, it took me a year of following just the story of everything that she was doing. And by this time, she was a coach. And she said, Russ, this is our future. You need to try this. So, as a good husband, that's what I did. Man, in Optavia, it's changed, radically changed, and transformed my idea of that body, that what health looked like, and given me back a body that I haven't had since I was in high school.
I mean,
I'm jealous, so go.
Thank you. And it's given me a new understanding just of what health looks like, and I couldn't have expected that in my 40s, I settled previously for what life was going to look like. Optavia disrupted that. It literally stopped that thought process, and I couldn't have imagined being here today like this. I hate to think, though, that I was an obstacle for her growth. But once I was awakened, I'll tell you what, man, it changed things. It set us off, and the rest is history.
I'll never forget, I was out of town somewhere, and all of a sudden I get a text and a phone call. I ran out and called you because that was the day you walked away from your corporate job and went all in on Optavia Coach. You were so fired up. Okay, tell me how it worked out.
And it was crazy. Crazy in a good way, but it was crazy. So we had to work together. That was a challenge. We had to seek growth, okay? It was an area that we had to figure out how to work together. But as we did, Tracy and I were two totally different people, different personalities, and we had to make that dance.
Yeah.
It was a stretch. It was a growth area for us. But since tackling that, man, honestly, continuing to tackle that on a daily basis, we're a strong team. We're a team now that can tackle things together. And man, we're changing things one healthy habit at a time as a team.
That's it.
But I get to be at home with my kids too.
Right.
So there's so many different things that have fallen into place, but being a literal force with my wife changing the world, man, there's nothing better than that. And now, today, I get to plan my life, our life, around the things that matter most to us, Pat. The things that matter most, our family, our dogs, our kids, everything that's in our house. We love it, and we get to do that.
Speaking of family, we've become family. We've traveled the world together. We've gone different places. Optavia brought us together, gave us the freedoms we never even imagined. And, a few weeks ago, my precious brother, who's watching right now, I love you, Scotty, went through an incredible health scare. But because of the freedom that we had, and because we're like family now, something happened. You made a decision. And I know this is going to be hard for you because you love him so much. But Russ, talk to me about this because we're family.
Pat, your brother Scott, man, he's become family. He's like a father figure to me.
Yeah.
And he had a medical emergency, and I was able to, at the drop of a dime, be able to fly to see him without even thinking about, is this going to cost? Do I have time? What's going to happen? I was able to, within hours, get on a plane and go to his side. And there's no other place I would have rather been.
That freedom has Optavia written all over it. All over it.
I'm getting emotional, but but what would you guys say to somebody that is on the fence about their health or even about the unbelievable decision that like Karen and I made, that y'all made, of becoming a coach? What would you say to somebody on the fence?
Oh, I would say a lot, but hands down, best decision we've ever made. Getting out of your own way, seeking the growth that brings you into that best version of yourself, and understanding the obstacle is the way. And sometimes that's a learned behavior. We learn that through the process, right? Borrow our belief. You heard me say it earlier. We've walked the road, and we're sitting here to talk about it. Wow. Put your health first. Lead from the front. It's the best thing we've ever done for our lives. We're happier, healthier, more active for all the days of our life, for our family, and now everybody around us. Just a simple plan. It's power-packed with nutrition. It's helped us get back on track and taught us what it was like to live our life again. As far as coaching, my gosh, like I said, our whole life is different. But I'll tell you what, and I say this often, everybody has a health coach-shaped hole in their heart and they don't know it till they start to feel it. It's there for everyone. So it's a low-risk decision. It changes your life in every single way. If Optavia has changed your life in the health realm, you can't keep that to yourself. You just cannot. Other people are waiting to get healthy on the other side of your activity and the way that you lead that. They just don't know what they don't know, but we do. We do. Don't keep it to yourself. That's what I would say.
Russ?
Guys, the Optavia community, it's 1 in a million, and it's sitting right in front of you now. Don't miss it.
I just want to say thanks for spending the last few minutes with us. As you can tell, we're a family. We're all about Habit 3 and transformational leadership and us diving in together, but I'm really thrilled to introduce somebody that's impacted all of our life. And he's kind of not only a close friend, but he's a hero to me. And it is my honor, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you Doug Wood. I love you.
Thanks so much, Pat. Tracy, Russ, just love you guys. This is one big family. And family, I know you all are doing out there because you know what? I've been peeking into the chat. And y'all are lighting up the chat. So go ahead and keep blowing that up here for the next 20 minutes as we hang out together just a little bit more. Now think about this, though. I brought some of my swag. Okay, who got the swag box? Who got the swag box? All right, go ahead and, you know what, go ahead and put it in the chat. In fact, if you have your swag box close to you, I want you to go grab your magnets. I brought the magnets with me today because we're going to talk about these here for the next couple of minutes. So I'm giving you a minute because I think some of you have already kind of been making, you know, your kids have already grabbed them and they're all over the fridge, right? They're a little bit of a mess. But and if you don't have them handy, that's okay. I want you to think of a word. I want you to think of a word that maybe describes how you've been feeling, maybe the last few weeks, maybe the last few months, or maybe some of you have to go back a little bit and think about how it's been and how it was before Optavia. Okay, everyone grab that word. Now, it might be on here. I happened to look down at mine, and obstacles was staring at me. Okay, that just kind of jumped out at me. All right? So you might think of something else, though. Maybe it's the word struggle has been there. Maybe the word confused has been there. Maybe the word or words, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I'm just trying to make it one day at a time, and today has been a breath of fresh air. Now, I want you to go out to the future a little bit. Think about this. If you had to describe maybe what you most desire for you, your family, the people closest to you, let's look down at these words. Let me just read some off. Maybe they stand out to you. For those of you that have your magnet, go ahead and put it in the chat if you'd like, whether you have your magnet or not. But maybe it's transform. Maybe it's well-being. Someone said to me the other day, Doug, I just feel like it is well with my soul. Like I'm just starting to live in a place of peace. Maybe it's lifelong. Maybe it's transformational. Maybe it's embrace. Maybe it's growth. You know, it's interesting. It's taken me 11 years not to just figure this out. And I'm going to take you back to my journey here in just one second. But the difference between where you are right now or where you were and maybe the feelings that you've been feeling the last few months or the last few weeks and the place that you want to be, with every part of my being, I believe Optavia is the answer in the in-between. I know that to be true, but I want to take you back to my journey. And you can just take your magnets and throw them to the side for a minute. I want to take you back to my journey. This photo seriously was taken 10 years ago today. That's my wife, Tia, and myself. And we are just brand new, not knowing what I got myself into, health coaches. It was my first time hearing Dr. A's vision speech, his talk as he shared with us this morning. Something started racing in me that day. I started getting nervous. I started to have some tears like I'm having now. I had to get up and go to the bathroom a few times and gather my thoughts. I was even worried about what was going on at home. See, my wife was a newer coach. I was the support role. I was fresh off, about 60 pounds, lost me about 60 lbs, and I was starting to feel good. You know, how Doug got his swagger back. I started getting my swagger back. Some of you right now, I was peeking at the chat earlier. You feeling that? You're getting your swagger back. Something's starting to feel right. And I started the journey of health coaching. At that time, I supported Tia. And, but at that convention 10 years ago, this word came so true to me, and it was commitment and a recommitment. And for the last 11 years, see, I say 11 because I started my health journey before I started a health coach. It took me about 8 to 10 months before becoming and paying it forward and becoming a coach. But at that convention, I said, Doug, it's time to commit. I felt a voice say, it's time to commit. I'll talk about decision here in a minute, but I made a decision that day, but I committed to myself. See, for so long I had put so many other people first. And it was time to commit to myself, to my kids, to my wife, to my community, and do something that I was really, really scared to do. But you know, behind every sometimes suit jacket, you can hide a lot. Let me show you what I looked like right after losing 65 pounds. Okay? I still had some ways to go, but that was me. The first thing I recommitted to was my health. I said, you know what? If it's going to be, it's up to me. Dr. A laid out the path. See, I had signed up for some weight loss. Okay, I'm like, hey, can I just try the food here? This thing's kind of working. I don't know about all this health stuff. And I think some of you, if you're still watching, clearly you have a strong desire for more. You're like me, I'm not quite sure about this convention, but I'll come support my wife. I'll check it out. And I made a commitment to me, and I committed to myself. I made a recommitment. And for the last 11 years, I've made a recommitment to constantly be focusing on me, to constantly recommit to my health. I think some of you right now are watching, and you're even going, but Doug, I'm like you in the first picture. I don't look like a health coach. Have you discovered that we're all, and Nick said it so well this morning, if you're looking for perfection, I think you've found the wrong community, but we're a bunch of imperfect people figuring it out, but better that we're doing it together. So I recommitted to my health. Fast forward, my wife and I, we were enjoying coaching, loving it. So we kept going. Tia started supporting clients. I kind of started supporting her even more. We started paying it forward and helping other coaches. But now I want to talk to the coaches for just a second because we got comfortable. Tia had helped about 3 coaches do what she had done. Okay, which she was the executive director, meaning she was supporting 15, 20-ish clients, and she had helped 3 coaches do the exact same thing. During that time, we had to go and we hit that convention a year later, and we had helped a lot of people. But we were at that point, I think some of you coaches are out right now. It was time for a recommitment. So we recommitted to ourselves. And you fast forward, the next year, we started helping a lot of people. I got introduced to Dr. A, the man. And better yet, he took me out on his Habits of Health sailboat. It's easy to hit peaks in our life and then back off and take a break, or as they might say, smell the roses a little bit, just kind of relax a little bit. But it was interesting. I had done more in Optavia in 2 years and accomplished more in 2 years than I had done in my previous career in my life. And so it's easy to sit back and go, man, I just went on Dr. A's sailboat. And just for the record, if Dr. A ever invites you to a sailboat, do not pass that up. It is absolutely amazing. And I know some of you people that love the water like I do, you're like, I want to go on Dr. A's sailboat. It's amazing. But after that convention, 2 years later, as global directors, we had to recommit to ourselves because it's easy to start backing off, start chilling out, relaxing a little bit. And we made the commitment, and we had to recommit to the decision. We fast forward a couple years later, here we are at a convention just a couple of years ago, being recognized and given the Bradley T. McDonald Award. And again, what do you have a tendency to do? Back off. And by this time, people are starting to ask, Doug, why are you still an Optavia coach? Life seems pretty amazing. You've really transformed. Like, I thought you were just kind of like a little diet coach. Like, you and Tia seem like you're living a great life. Why are you still here? And I'm like, because it's an amazing life. I want to share it with others. So we kept going, but we had to commit to the process of recommitment. I feel like some of you watching right now, that you're in the middle of a recommitment. Some of you clients are in the middle of a recommitment to the community. Some of the clients, you're in the commitment or recommitment to the habits of health. Some of you coaches, same thing. So what happened next? Last year, I had this crazy idea, and I get some crazy ideas sometimes. I was just like, man, I want to take my family on a road trip. So I went out and we tried RVing. And just for the record, I no longer own an RV. Okay, I'll tell you, that's how well the summer went last year. So I buy this RV, and I want to take my family around the country. And I just want to share the good news, share some of the things that we've even shared with you today. Didn't really actually share anything about Optavia. I just want to encourage people for a night of health, a night of hope, a night of encouragement, and give them some of the tools that I've used. And some of those were how to decide, how to confront, how to get into action. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But before I do, let me show you a picture. So I traveled around. We did 25 stops. We helped people all over the country, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Tia and I were in our third event. We're driving up the California coast. We have the entire summer left. Took my family completely out of our comfort zone. We went and lived on the road to share the good news, but it wasn't an Optavia tour. It was just an encouragement tour, and all these people come. And at the end of the evening, or 3 hours later, people are lined up, and we're taking photos, and we're having fun. And they're coming up, and they're telling me things in my ear. Pain, struggles, what they're really going through. And I went back. I'll never forget, I was somewhere in the middle. I think it was near Oakland. That was an interesting night, an interesting story. I laid my head on my pillow that night, and I said, Tia, we've done a lot, but there's no way we can truly help these people completely transform without Optavia. All we did was we encouraged them. We gave them some tools. But if they're going back in the Monday zone, if they're going back to a toxic community, if their Facebook feed is still lit up with negative and everybody attacking each other, it's just a matter of 48 hours before Monday and Tuesday, they're facing the same struggles. And I said, Tia, we have to finish this tour, but we have to make a recommitment to share this gift with every single person we know, because it is the only thing that will completely transform someone's life, because it has the tools built in. Dr. A designed this. He gives people the tools, and it's not weight loss tools. It's how to deal with this. I mean, again, a brother's 65 pounds down, but this wasn't the issue. This is the constant issue. So we made a recommitment and said, all right, that was cool. So just a few weeks ago, I recommit my marriage to my wife. We went and celebrated her on her 40th birthday. Yes, my wife turned 40. It was public. And 20 years of marriage. And so you look at us now, and some of you guys are like, man, what's it like? Well, you know what? It's a journey. It's a long journey. And so sometimes some of you right now are comparing where you're at now to my 10-year journey or Charlene's 5-year journey. And you know what we did at that convention is we committed to ourselves. We committed to everything within us to partner with our future self and say, you know what, this is my path. I know there's a lot of confusion out there, but I'm going to do this. And so you look back at the very beginning and you go, wow, that was you on a cruise. Yes, as we know, the all-you-can-eat cruises, right? Some people just go on. What did I hear the captain say one time? Some people come on as passengers, they leave as cargo. If you notice, that's me, all right? That was me. I was clearly coming off as cargo, and I started the Optavia journey. So you look at us now, that's our 29-year-old self to our 40-year-old self, but all we did was commit to us. I don't want to turn the focus to you for the last closing few moments. Some of you, I believe, you're in the middle of the biggest decision of your life today. Some of you, it is time to make a decision. And I'm not saying decide to become a coach or decide to recommit to your health today. I'm challenging you to make a decision. Some of us, sometimes it's some phone calls we need to make. Sometimes we need to start to confront some things. Some of us actually need to pull our cell phones out and delete some apps. Because sometimes we don't know what to believe anymore, right? We turn on the news. Some of us actually might need to turn off the news, the constant negative news network, or the shock and awe network. What happened now? And we've got to confront some of these patterns that are they moving us closer to where we want to be? We've got to make a decision. We've got to confront. And lastly, we got to get into action. Today we have been fed from the best, hearing these transformational stories. But Optavia is about action. We have amazing systems. And some of you watching right now, I already know this because I've received a few messages. When are you going to teach us how to find clients? How to start a coach? We have so many portals available on the recordings for that. We have a training every single week that our community gathers. But today it's about action. After we decide, we confront the things and we get into action. The moment this is over, I cannot wait to watch Facebook because I'm going to be on. And I'm going to see like the whole Optavia community on Facebook Live saying, my gosh, I just made a decision to recommit to partnering with my future self. And in closing, I want to talk just a little bit more about you. My friends, today, this is about you. It's about your health. It's about our health. It's about yourself. Some of you, I think, are even fighting the decision to recommit to your health or maybe even pay it forward and become a coach. It is okay. You've spent a lot of seasons giving to others, giving to your kids, giving to your family. You've bent over backwards. Sometimes getting healthy and becoming a coach is a selfish decision. It's about you. It's looking inward and saying, dang it, it's my time. Tracy said that so well, like, I deserve this. It is time for me to put the focus back on me, but more importantly, let me ask you about your family. Does your family need a better dad? Does your family need a more fully present father? Does your family and your kids maybe need a dad who's not always checked out and slipping off to the old outside fridge just as the family starts to slip away and go to bed and, get one of dad's cattails? I can relate because that was me. Either drinking it or eating myself to sleep to get up to fight the same demons the next day. And I'm putting on this show, some of us on Instagram and Facebook, like everything's perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but this family comes around you, like Gina says, in times of struggle, in times of win, in great times like today. Some of you guys are like confused by the chat right now. You're like, these people, are they ever negative? You know what? We all have real life, but we embrace each obstacle as the way. And lastly, your dreams. Your dreams are worth it. Because you know what? Optavia helped me reawaken a purpose. I was a sleepy dad, a confused business owner, very confused, out of shape, out of mind, non-present, just kind of getting through. But it was a repurposing season for me. I'm going to end with this. Tap into something deeper. Tap into upper, lower, side to side. Tap into something deeper because you deserve it. And my friends, if you don't tap into yourself or something deeper, you're going to tap out early and call it just an okay life. At this time, I want to turn it back over to two of the most amazing men, Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson and Dan Chard.
Awesome. Well, listen, Doug, I have to tell you that I used to think that real men gave roses. Now I realize they wear them. Amazing talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doug.
That was awesome. It was awesome. Well, we're at the end, as Doug said.
Yeah, it's been less than 24 hours, or about 24 hours, and it seems like it's just been an hour or something. It's
Exactly.
an amazing 24 hours.
Yeah, and as we kind of reach out to the world and showcase Optavia, it's an amazing time for us. Because we all of a sudden realize that what we know now can get out to the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here and my heart's beating, partly because I'm thinking about all the people who are out there, but mostly because we've just heard from the amazing coaches, or just a few of them, from Optavia. And what's amazing is that every single one of them started out with a client story, being a simple client, trying to improve their lives, trying to do something different with their life, but make it better, transform it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And, many of them using our amazing 4 components, right? We talked about that this morning. The 4 components together make it almost unstoppable. If you're willing to do the work, awaken, take responsibility, anyone can make a change in their health and in their life.
Yeah, Dr. Ray, I was last night, I got a text from my mother. And my mother now is 82 years old. She seems like she gets shorter every year, white hair. She sent me a text and saying, is there an age limit? Could I think about coaching? And I thought, oh my gosh, like she's inspired. And I remember going to school as a young guy thinking, wow, my mom is like a little bit nuts because I was the only kid at school who would open up his lunch bag and pull out a zucchini on wheat bread
And she felt inspired. She felt like she wanted to take what she believes about health and help other people. And she's 82 years old.
Well, give me her number. We'll get her signed up.
She'd be a great coach.
I bet she would if she comes. Your genes come from her?
Yeah.
It's no stop. So it's funny because you're talking about family. This morning, after I gave the visionary talk, I got a note from my daughter. Said, great talk. She goes, Dad, I love you, and I'm so proud that you're my dad. I mean, it was like, wow. Because usually with conferences from before, they would never be watching. They would be out playing at the pool. But now she's 20 years old, and just that feeling that I've been a model for her. It's pretty cool stuff.
I think each one of us who are involved in this great mission of helping people transform their lives feels how incredible this is. I remember, I go back 4 years now, and Dr. Ray, my first coach, your wife, the First Lady of Optavia, Lori Anderson, I think about the influence that she had and the good person she was, and think about her looking down at what you're doing and what all the coaches are doing and what all these clients are doing and changing the world.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
She would love it. Thank you, Lori. So I just want to change here a little bit and say that, we talked a lot about transformation. In fact, our logo is lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. And we have so much information. I've watched over the last 6 months, everybody out there telling people what to do. More information and more information. And actually, we're in the informational age. It's a time where you can get all the information you want. You can get on Google, but the reality is what we're starting, what we're pioneering, using our human transformational technology, we're pioneering a new era. We're going to call it the transformational age. How's that sound, guys?
I love that. I love that. I think we have the community, we have everything that we need to make really a difference, not just in the people around this country, but around the world. We have people from around the world in Asia joining us. We have exactly what we need to achieve, Dr. Ray, what you envisioned so many years ago. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dan, and thank you for your partnership. The last 4 years have been just remarkable as we've come together with this incredible shared vision of changing the world together. Thank you for your partnership.
So let's take what we've learned, take what we've felt, and as everyone said, find a way to share it. Find a way to incorporate it in your lives and find a way to make a difference in the world.
I want to thank all our coaches, our leaders, our clients, the candidates today decided that, you want to be part of you want to be part of us, you want to come together on this journey with us. I can tell you it's an amazing ride, and we are going to transform the world one healthy habit at a time. Thank you.
Thank you.